And then with a kind of slide, like someone opening a Ziploc bag, we're greeted with this gaudy synth line that is both humorous and catchy. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name's Andy. So drunk in the August sun. And you're the kind of girl I like because you're empty and I'm empty. And you can never quarantine the past. More on that later. But first, we have a tune to listen to, which Andy has selected using his eyeglass and tweezers. Andy, what have you got?
Not an eyeglass or tweezers. What I do have is a track called Take a Walk by a band called Passion Pit. Are you familiar with Passion Pit?
Yes, a wee bit.
A wee bit.
Yeah. I remember I have heard the album Manners on recommendation by someone. I have to be honest, it didn't take. But so that's it. I think that was their first album.
It was, yes.
I think there was a bit of buzz in this over here about them, but that buzz faded to a slow hum. I don't think they made much of a splash over here.
Okay.
I don't know how big they are in the States, but I just remember their name being mentioned. But this is many, many moons ago.
Yeah, their first two albums went over really well here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Luckily, this is off their second album, which is not Manners. So you probably won't have heard this before. I don't think.
I doubt it very much.
Yeah, but yeah, go up, take a walk, and go listen to it, and let me know what you think.
Will do.
All right.
About to kick off. That opening melody, is that a sample? That seems really familiar. Yeah. Just drag it back a little bit, but it does sound familiar, unless I've heard this before, which I doubt. Okay, so after that quite charming beginning, we go into immediately quite a gaudy little synth line, which is actually quite what's the word? Well humoured, and is a little bit catchy. Um, there's some interesting stuff going on there. Vocalist, it's got that same weak ass vocals that you kind of associate, now I do, with American synth based electronica from mid noughties onwards. I just don't think much to that kind of voice. Um, and it seems like, the more synths there are, the worse the voice is. I don't know. Yeah, but this is okay. It's not terrible. Um, Chorus is really catchy. We've included woes as well, just in case you didn't realise it was the chorus. Um, but yeah, it's quite a sort of cheeky little number so far. Let's see how it goes.
Because of loss, I remind myself that times could be much worse. My wife won't ask me questions, there's not so much to ask, and she'll never flaunt around an empty purse. Once my mom locking just to stay a couple nights, and decided she would stay the rest of her life. I watch my little children play some board game in the kitchen, and I sit and pray they never feel my stride.
The way he's singing there, the way he's scanning the lines, it reminds me of something. Can't think what. It'll come to me later. They're really pounding on the beat, aren't they? The drums are fairly, you know, it's like a kid banging on his crib. It's really sort of, single-minded is the word. That's it. And then they're putting everything else into this almost stomp to it, um, which sort of drives it forward and gives it that toe tappy element, I guess.
Then my partner called to say the pension funds were gone. We made some bad investments, now the accounts are overdrawn. I took a walk, take 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 a walk. Honey, it's your son, I think I borrowed just too much. We had taxes, we had bills, we had a lifestyle of fun. And tonight I swear I'll come home and we'll make love like we're young. But tomorrow you'll cook dinner for the neighbors and the kids. We can rip apart those socialists and all their damn taxes. But see, I am no criminal, I'm down on both bad knees. I'm just too much a coward to admit when I'm in need. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk, I took a walk, take 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 a walk, I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk, I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk.
Yeah, that was all right. Catchy-ish, really unsubtle. The sort of through line of particularly the chorus, that it's really it's quite 80s new wavy synthy to me. Sort of Howard Jones would be proud of that, I think. Um, yeah, again, not particularly my cup of tea, but it was all right. It was a catchy little number. There's lots of stuff going on actually. I like the guitar bits, and there's this weird, almost castanetti bit at the beginning that was quite odd. Um, but yeah, overall interesting. I imagine this was a massive hit. It sounds very American as well. I don't. I remember people talking about Passion Pit, but I don't think they made a dent in this country, and I could be wrong. It could easily pass me by. But let's get back to Andy and find out some more.
All right. So you're back from your leisurely stroll. What did you make of this track, Take a Walk?
So the opening melody, my first thoughts is that a sample? Because it sounds very familiar. There's a slight melancholic tinge to the sort of the line. But yeah, you got this synth line, this sustained chords, and then another one doing this really pretty little melody, and then a third one that has these chiming notes and bits of it was probably all one fucking keyboard, with like several, like with the, but anyway, parts and these little chiming notes add a bit of glitter on top of it. Really, melody wise, this is my favorite part of the song, but I imagine a whole track of this would be hard to digest. It's just like being given three courses of pate on toast or something. So it's probably prudent it was just the starter. And then with a kind of slide, like someone opening a Ziploc bag, we're greeted with this gaudy synth line that is both humorous and catchy. I imagine this synth line, if it was attending a Halloween party, would wear a Groucho Marx mask, complete the cigar. And along with this synth line, along with that is this accompanying sort of tub thumping beat. Subtle it is not.
No, you're right.
Also, yeah, and there's also these like piano-esque, whatever it is, synth piano notes that are sort of chopping in between the beats as well, sort of a double time to the beat, which is get really nice. So the singing begins, and we have that usual correlation between the use of synths and the quality of vocals. And I think the rule I found is the more synths, the more sort of mundane the vocals become. From my ears anyway. I won't label the point. There's a really nice guitar that replaces the synth, and I really like that. And then after a couple of lines of that, I mean, this is the pattern throughout. Sort of, you have this bit, and then it becomes layered, and it gets all building all the time to the chorus point, and then drops down and builds again, and that's the way it goes. So then after this, again, it's really nice sounding guitar part. You get this effect at the end of the lines. It's a cross between castanets and clockwork false teeth chomping. And that really made me smile. I quite liked it. It's just a bit of nonsense, but it's fun, which I think really musically is the point of this song. So the pre-chorus indicates what's coming with the snare work, and then Take a Walk, chorus booms out. It's even heavier on the beats, and with added uhs, just in case you didn't realize this was a chorus. But it really absolutely does its job as a catchy sing-along part of the song. We go back to the verse, same lovely guitar, and it builds again, as we said, with that single-minded stomping beat and double-tracked vocals. And the way that the vocals scan the lines at this point, I can't remember the lines, but reminded me of somebody else, and I can't remember who that. So it's as yet retrieved from my memory and may never be. But it was like, for me, just the way he sung that, it just rang a very distant bell in the chapel of my death of memory. But anyway, so same pre-chorus build, and I did catch actually, because it just pinged, because it was so out of the blue, mentions of pension funds and bad investments, and it's not the sort of words you'd expect floating around in this sort of stompy, dancey, electronica song. So that's why they sort of rung out to me. Big chorus again, and I noticed actually, and it may have been in the first chorus, but I only noticed in this one, sort of jangly percussion as well, so almost like bell type stuff. And then we go into a bridge like part, which I think at this point he's trying to hit the emotional impact with the words he's saying, and I promise. But he doesn't have the vocal chops, so it didn't ring for me. You know, I'm sure it does for others, but not for me. But the music swells once again to the chorus, and again, it's big and stomping and catchy. And then we have the electronic equivalent of a butterfly flittering away as it finishes. I'd say musically, it's not particularly my cup of tea, but this was a catchy number. The synth lines, I thought, had elements of 80s new wave synth pop. So someone like I said in the reaction, someone like Howard Jones would be very proud of this melody, because it's insanely catchy and insanely simple, really, as well. And that's what a lot of those guys I remember from that sort of early 80s period did. Depeche Mode did the same thing, and even some idiot like Nick Kershaw did it as well. I do remember people speaking about Passion Pit. But as I said before, I don't think they made a dint on these shores. But in the words of Radiohead, I could be wrong. But this sounded more like an American sound in terms of like a electro pop sort of hit, which I think would have probably been fairly commercial. I can see it being a popular thing. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for giving it a listen. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
It's not my bag, but it's definitely all right. And this is the beauty of the channel, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I don't normally flock to, I think we both have like an interesting relationship with synth heavy stuff. It's very hit or miss with us. And this one, I think because of the hooky nature to it all, and
when it gets you, it gets you.
Yeah, exactly. And it got me. And so did Sleepyhead, I think, off the album that preceded this that we were talking about, that track. And there's another track off this album called Carried Away that kind of sank its teeth into me. But I'm not like a diehard fan of these guys or anything like that. I do know that their two first albums were very popular, and we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, appreciate you giving it a listen. They are an indie pop / indie rock / indie tronica band from Cambridge, Massachusetts, formed in 2007 by band members Michael Angelakos on lead vocals and guitar, lead vocals and keyboard, Ian Hultquist on guitar and synth, Ayed Al-Admani, Ayed Al-Adhami. Yeah, exactly. Fluid. He plays synth. Tom Plas on bass and Adam Levinsky on drums. Got some interesting surnames in this band. The band released their debut album Manners in 2009 that we spoke of. A second studio album entitled Gossamer was released in 2012, which debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and gave the band their first top 10 album. Yeah.
Number 4 on the grown-up charts, like the big boy charts.
Actually, yeah, they did. Yeah, it's the big boy charts. At first I was like, what are you talking about, the big boy charts? But yes, yes, the Billboard 200, if that's the big boy charts, then yes. Kindred, the band's third studio album, was released April 17th, 2015. Passion Pit itself released their fourth album, Tremendous Sea of Love, on July 28th, 2017. On July 16th, 2012, less than a week before Gossamer was released, Angelakos posted on the Passion Pit website that the band had canceled the remaining July tour dates and suspended the tour in order for him to seek ongoing treatment for bipolar disorder. A Rolling Stone interview stated that Angelakos was diagnosed at 17, undergoing therapy, hospital care, and taking medication ever since. And Gossamer received generally positive reviews from music critics. At Metacritic, the album received an average score of 76 based on 36 reviews. The Guardian's Caroline Sullivan commented that Angelakos' ability to create sunlight and sparkle with an arsenal of sequences and computers remains consistent, and that is the album's real point of interest. Russell Warfield of Drowned in Sound opined that while retaining the overactive production style, Angelakos manages to make Gossamer feel more effortlessly human, more like the self-realized artistic vision of an individual than Manners ever came close to being. Pitchfork and their writer Ian Cohen described Gossamer as an overwhelming album about being overwhelmed, a bold and ultimately stunning torrent of maximalist musical styles, repressed anger, and unchecked anxiety. The AV Club's Ryan Reed found Gossamer to be more elegant than its predecessor and concluded, throughout Gossamer, Angelakos sounds broken and confused, wrestling with his demons. Cage match style on an oversized stage. But despite the emphasis on struggle, Gossamer couldn't sound more assured. James Christopher Monger of AllMusic stated, though the environment that birthed the appropriately titled Gossamer may be a bummer, the end product is winningly majestic, as it is obviously spun by the most malevolent of spiders. Rolling Stone placed the album number 39 on its 50 best albums of 2012, and it stated, shinier, busier, and even more hysterically earnest in their debut than their debut. Angelakos falsetto ricochets like laser light. Chipper Gal's Coup Smoke machine choruses amid hot electronics and cool string arrangements. Pop Matters ranked it at 66 on its list of the 75 best albums of 2012, writing the album's title speaks volumes about the contents, a thinly veiled peek into the psyche of singer-songwriter Michael Angelakos. Now, let's jump into these lyrics. And you were right, like, there's this hooky poppy nature to the music, and then you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Pension plans and like lost funds and all this stuff. So it's kind of an interesting story within this odd packaging for such a story. So all these kinds of places make it seem like it's been ages. Tomorrow some new buildings will scrape the sky. I love this country dearly. I can feel the ladder clearly, but I never thought I'd be alone to try. Once I was outside Penn Station selling red and white carnations. We were still alone, my wife and I. Before we married, saved my money, brought my dear wife over. Now I work to bring my family stateside. But off the boat they stayed a while, then scattered across the coast. Once a year I'll see them for a week or so at most. I took a walk. Take a walk, take a walk, take a walk. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk. Practice isn't perfect, but the market cuts a loss. I remind myself that times could be much worse. My wife won't ask me questions, there's not so much to ask, and she'll never flaunt around an empty purse. Once my mother-in-law came just to stay a couple nights, then decided she would stay the rest of her life. I watch my little children play some board games in the kitchen, and I sit and pray they'll never feel my strife. But then my partner called to say the pension funds were gone. He had made some bad investment, now the accounts are overdrawn. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk, take a walk. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk. Honey, it's your son. I think I borrowed just too much. We had taxes, we had bills, we had a lifestyle to front. And tonight, I swear I'll come home and we'll make love like we're young. Tomorrow you'll cook dinner for the neighbors and their kids. We can rip apart the socialists and all their damn taxes. But I see I am no criminal. I'm down on both bad knees. I'm just too much a coward to admit when I'm in need. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk. I took a walk, take a walk, take a walk. So yeah, a very interesting narrative unfolding as each sort of verse progresses.
Just a couple of things, just going to clarify. I mean, so one, I get the overall impression of immigration into the States and making a life. I don't see, I'm sure you'll explain, but I don't see how that correlates with the phrase "take a walk." I mean, it's more like "took a boat." But anyway, secondly, there's that at the end. You started the verse, "Honey, it's your son," and then seemingly without a break. But tonight, I'll come home and we'll make love, which I thought was a bit odd. I mean, a close relationship with his mother, very far. I think that strays upon into something that could be frowned upon. I'm sure there should be a break there, but it doesn't read like there's a break in characters.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No, you're right. You're right. But it is kind of the
It is
tale,
multi-character, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, it's the tale of many through one.
Yeah.
And that is for certain.
And the third point, sorry, just very quickly, is this is all very interesting and really well written,
Yeah.
and totally wasted on a dancey clubby number which people will just be banging away to and spilling the martinis. So
Yeah.
it's really intention, but no one's gonna. They're just gonna sing "Take a Walk, Take a Walk, Take a Walk."
Yeah, and they're also going to sing. Yeah, that's what they're going to sing.
That's
No,
it.
you're right. But I do love lyrics so much that when I heard this song, I had to I was like, I really want to hear what he's saying, because I would catch bits like you're talking, like all their damn taxes and socialists and
socialist. I heard
yeah,
that
and all this stuff. There's all these like key words that kind of make you go, but I kind of want to fucking know what this is about. And then when you
They
find
kind of
out,
float to the top because they're so unexpected.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they are. And they're kind of third rail words. You know what I mean? They're not words you want to have in a group you're not familiar with or comfortable with. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that they found this way into this super pop song. But yeah, some clarity was provided by Angelakos in an MTV News article when he was discussing the song, and this is a bit of a quote, so bear with me here. It was really odd when the record company said it was going to be the first single. I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to get it. And then I thought everyone was going to think I was being like really political. And I don't think it is political. It's more about family to me. I really don't consider myself a very political person. I really don't like political songs, frankly. James Montgomery, the writer of the article, would go on to say, it's not difficult to see why he was concerned. After all, with its mentions of disappearing pension funds, overdrawn accounts, and socialists and all their damn taxes, Take a Walk seems very much to be a political anthem, one that could only have been written post financial crisis, which was 2008, 9 or whatever. But as Angelico said, the song is really about his family. Each verse is about a member of his family at one point in their lives, from an immigrant selling flowers outside of Penn Station to a well-heeled, though financially strapped member of society. And in a way, the song is also about him. Angelakos continues. It's about very specific family members, the male hierarchy, and how the men in my family have always dealt with money. I've always been really fond of a lot of family members and not so fond of others, he laughed. All these men were very conservative, socially very liberal, but for some reason, they all came here for capitalism. And they all ended up kind of being prey to capitalism. And I'm not making any political statements or anything, but it's ironic and it's sad. So, yeah, obviously with a name like Angelakos, Greek immigrants came over here chasing the American dream, only to find themselves a generation or two later simply a cog in the American machine. And it's funny how quickly you can go from pie in the sky and an immigrant and all the hurdles you have to jump over and leap over to just get some oxygen, to talking about socialism and taxation being too much, and meanwhile you've got a pension plan and you're putting up a front that you're perhaps more financially well off than you are, and all of a sudden you become part of the upper middle class and you're turning your nose down on the concepts and ideals that landed your ass here to begin with. And it's just really, I think it's really fucking cool. And like you said, it's really well crafted, interesting packaging. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, really, really cool and interesting. And I just thought intriguing and thought provoking. And I've always really dug the lyrics to this. And this Angelakos family, their story is like so many stories for families and people here. Some of us have English backgrounds that have been around since 1620, but there's some cool history there. There is. But the real interesting stuff, the real stories that are worth retelling and remembering are those who came over here after it was established, and just the tribalism and the factions and how you had to crawl, crabs in a barrel style to get to the top, and how quickly we can forget that with the thought of making money and chasing the American dream. I guess the American dream kind of comes more and more perverted as generations acclimate and transition and become truly American. It's an interesting I don't know, conundrum, but it's one that I think we'll think about.
I just don't think there's such a thing as an American dream. It's just it's another package that's been sold. You know, it's
I think
ridiculous.
that there's such a thing
Like
as
the Wild Wild West. It's bollocks.
yeah,
Absolute
yeah,
bollocks. But
yeah.
you know,
I don't
it's
disagree
like a
with
lot.
you.
It's the same as class system in our country and all that malarkey. You know, doffing your cap to your superiors.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. But anyway, you know, it keeps people in line.
Yes, it does. It does.
Does the education system, same thing. You know,
Yeah.
keeps people in line.
Yeah. They're all
So
constructs.
there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, let's end on a high note here. John, thanks for giving this a listen.
Bombing Parliament. No, sorry.
Everybody out there, the listening audience, let us know what you thought of Take a Walk by Passion Pit. If there's any other stuff we should check out by them or any other bands that are on your mind, any thoughts at all, within reason, put them down in the comments field. We love interacting with you guys and seeing you interact with one another. Also, if you're new here, think about subscribing. And if you're anybody here, think about liking and sharing. We're trying to build this channel. We're chugging along to that 1K marker, and we're trying to even go beyond that. Can't do that without you guys, and we really, really do appreciate that. All that out of the way, hopefully John and I see all y'all and growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.